Education and knowledge is not enough. To get through all the noise, we must deliver information in a manner that entertains. So probably first coined by Disney, we're talking about edutainment. So that's the mixture of education and entertainment. And as we talk about the story behind or the purpose behind our brands, our products, our services we offer, that's what we're talking about. We have to share it in a way that entertains in today's day and age to make sure that we stand out and get seen. And as we do that, how are different ways to do that? So the importance of it comes back to storytelling. And if you think about it, storytelling is one of the best ways for people to understand and to see what you're talking about, for them to relate, for them to compare it against other things. So here's some of the things that I would tell you that are important when it comes to storytelling is always take that opportunity to convey your personality. If there's something fun about it, I like this picture of my wife and I could tell them stories about different things that we've gone through our life and our marriage that could be fun. So anything that I can do that tells my personality, that I like dad jokes or that I wear pointed shoes, whatever that may be, adds to the story because it makes it more personalized. The next thing is you can't forget to do is bring your brand to the forefront. So you got to talk about why our marketing department is the better marketing department, why our marketing listens to people or fulfills the needs of clients, and get your branding out there. And then it's always good to hit the emotional quotient, and that's almost where you come back to the why. If you're talking about a charity or a cause like that, there's obviously, you tell the story, you tell why, that it touches your heart or other people's hearts, why you're doing that. The same thing with your brand, even though you're maybe a for-profit business, what have you put into it? What inspires you? What's your passion behind what's going on? And are you expressing that in a way that people can feel that? And then you think, okay, what can I do to leave the cliffhanger? What can I do to put something out there that I maybe don't tell them the whole story behind it, or I tell a piece of it, but I leave them wanting to come back for more, wanting to hear more about what we're doing, more about our brand, more about our company. And so I've looked out there, there's a lot of different ways that people talk about storytelling, and I'll tell you what I believe are the top things to look for. So when you're telling a story, almost every single story needs to have both a hero and a villain. And a lot of times people will immediately say, well, the villain is my competitor and I'm the hero. And I would tell you that both those are wrong and you should reconsider. So a villain, when you portray somebody to be a villain and it's another company, you're asking people to take sides right there. And that makes it very uncomfortable with people to do that. So I look at Nike, and Nike could have picked anybody to be their villain. They could have picked Adidas, they could have picked Puma, they could have picked any kind of other athletic shoe or clothing provider, but they didn't. They picked laziness. When they said just do it, it was more of, okay, get past your own laziness or your own inability to jump up and grab this, get past your own hesitancies and jump forward and go forward. By doing that, they didn't put anybody down, but everybody can feel that enemy. Everybody can see, okay, that's something that I want to get past. I want to do better. I want to be more active. I want to accomplish more things, and it's something that everybody could use as an enemy. Where a competitor or another brand would have, like I said, just drawn sides, and not everybody would have agreed with that. So when it comes to villains, you can make it a feeling or a cause or something else like that, not necessarily your competitor. Now, when you come back and say the hero, so many of the clients I work with want to be the hero. They want to show how they solve the problem. They provide the solution, and I understand that feeling, and I understand how that goes. But I'll tell you, when you really understand and you're listening to your clients, you realize that most people, our base instinct is, what's in it for me? And when they're purchasing your product or your service, you want to make it that they can be the hero. You want to portray your story that they can be the one that delivers the thing that makes their wife happy or their family happy, or the thing that makes them a good father or a good mother, or makes them a good business person because they made the right decision. How do you make them the hero of your story? And then you come back, and we always have, and we've talked about this before, but a number two. So like Frodo had Samwise, and when you look through a bunch of these different stories, they had a number two. Well, that's a great spot where you can make you and your company and your brand is, okay, we're the number two. We don't need the glory of being the hero. That's going to be the client. But we can be the ones that provide the opportunity for them to solve their problem. Then a couple of the other things that I would throw in there is you want to keep it somewhat simple. You don't want to get overly complicated and get to the point, but you also do want to show that there is a struggle. For whatever reason in the world, if we think that there was no struggle, that this company achieved it without any problems, we don't necessarily believe that, or it doesn't seem like somebody that's in the same boat as us as people. We want to look at people that, oh, okay, they went through a tough time, but they solved it, they got past it, they conquered it, they moved on. So go ahead and show and tell what some of the struggle is and how you've helped them overcome it as a person, but also you as a company have overcome it. Be visual whenever you can in your storytelling. Show pictures, show things that they can relate to so that it sticks with them. And then one of the last things that I always add is don't tell her I told you this, but I have a sister who tells stories, and sometimes she forgets that stories need to have kind of a point or a punch to it, right? She tells these stories and they're snoozers, right? You like, oh my gosh, is there going to be anything exciting? So we started teasing her when we were little, and we'd always we'd interrupt her halfway and say, at any point, is there going to be a lion or a wardrobe or anything in this story? Because if not, I'm going to fall asleep. And we tease her about that. The sake of the matter is that is true in what you're doing with your branding. Sometimes you tell the things that that are important to you or that sound important to you, but are meaningless to the consumer. Again, what's in it for me and what's the key features? Sometimes I have people who will say, hey, let me tell you about my company. You know, my great-grandfather started it here, and they tell this whole story how he passed on to his brother and then to his dad, and then the dad passed on there. You know, a lot of times you've lost the client by then. What you need to say is, you know, we've been around for 50 years. My grandfather started, and then move on, right? Move on to the next part. What's in it for them? The experience is what's provide them the opportunity, but they don't need to hear the details of that. They want to hear something that's exciting and fun, and sometimes even if it's a surprise, that's always fun too. Is we all like movies or books where we think it's going a certain way, and then all of a sudden there's a surprise. If you add that to your story of your branding, that's okay too. Hey, you thought this was going to be the answer, but here's the answer in solving it. So from our marketing, we just think it's really important that each of us look back at how we're portraying our brand and look at storytelling as a solution there. And through that, if you're looking at what you're doing on social media, you look at what you're doing in email blasts, even in any type of marketing, if you remember that edutainment is what is the goal that you're after, then I think you'll hit down the right path. Again, this is our point of view. We're here at our marketing department, and we want to share it with you and let you have that experience. And so that's what you need to keep in mind is you need to remember edutainment. At our marketing, we think that's one of the most important things you could do to differentiate. So go through these things that we suggest and remember that's our point of view.